You couldn't last one day in my high school.
Actually, I could, and I would do it without getting a detention.
We get into so much trouble when, out of insecurity, out of fear, we just make assumptions. And then we get into trying to protect ourselves instead of seeing what's really going on. Each other's lives isn't as easy or as ideal as they think.
Ah! You're ruining my life!
And the fact is, most of our quote-unquote hurtful behaviors come because we're either trying to get love and affection or we're responding to a lack of love and affection. Because of perspective taking, we can arrive at a place of empathy with one another that changes the decisions that we make and helps us to be more altruistic and fair. Hello and welcome to Cinema Therapy. I'm Jonathan Decker, licensed therapist who loves movies. This is
Alan C. Wright, professional filmmaker who needs therapy.
Today we're going to be talking about Freaky Friday and perspective taking.
It's the freakiest!
Are you sick? I hope so.
This movie does fantastically, as in a fantasy setting.
Yes.
Also does good fantastically. Something that I would do in real life in a therapy office, which is role-playing and perspective taking.
Her idea. New therapeutic technique. Switching points of view.
I'm taking your perspective right now. It feels weird to turn this way. My
Boy,
neck doesn't go good.
No, but boy, do you fill out that polo.
Mom, I just had breakfast. That's disgusting.
Anyways, let's dive into this classic remake about a mother and a daughter who are having a hard time seeing each other's perspective and understanding that life is hard for both of them. Let's do this.
I am going to make one final attempt to try to understand what goes on in your head.
Don't treat me like one of your patients, Mom.
What?
All calm and reasonable, and let's talk about it. I really want to understand.
I really do want to understand, Anna.
Oh, Mama, stay out of it, please. Mama.
Okay, fine. They're gonna pick one
So
local
this is a
band
delightful
to play,
movie
like,
that's
okay,
really
we were
fun,
lucky to
and
get this cut. Seriously.
Whoo boy, are the Chinese ladies just a racist caricature.
Magic Asian,
What
yeah.
I hear is that my special night means absolutely nothing to you.
Oh, I don't even have to ask if my band means anything to you. It's totally clear to us that you think we're all noise.
Look, I'm a walrus.
I do not.
That is
You
Alan
do.
at any age.
Anna, I let you.
I was doing it earlier today.
Anna, stop. What?
Okay, this right here is important.
Let's talk about what this is really about, okay? This is about your dad, isn't it?
Mom, stop shrinking me. It's not about Dad.
Valid.
It's about the audition. You're ruining my life.
Honey, enough with the drama. Anna, high school is not that hard.
You couldn't last one day in my high school.
Actually, I could, and I would do it without getting a detention.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mom.
Her hip
I'm
would set
sorry
off
that I'm
metal
the one thing in your
detectors.
life that isn't perfect.
Perfect? You think my life is perfect?
Oh, I know your life is perfect. Your perfect job, perfect boyfriend, perfect patient to worship the grind you
Oh,
work
honey,
hard.
you need a serious and bracing reality check if you think my life is perfect.
You could just cut me some slack just this once, Mom.
I am beyond cutting you slack, Anna. But you are not going to the audition.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not.
Why not?
Because I said so. Cookie.
So maybe a different instigating event to get the body switch going then.
Yeah, maybe don't go with like the cheapest, easiest sort of racial stereotype.
Yeah. But that said, the stuff between Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis once it happens.
Fantastic, brilliant.
Are you happy for your mommy?
About what?
What is your history with this movie? I saw it right when it came out.
I've heard for decades this is
really good.
And it is. It's really funny.
Really good. Yeah, I don't remember why I went to see it, but I did, and I was really impressed with Lindsay Lohan. I remember being like, wow, this, she's like 15 and she's crushing it. She's doing a great job.
I, for one, am not crazy. I'm merely a grown woman trapped in my daughter's body.
Jamie Lee Curtis is a revelation in this movie.
Yeah.
She is so damn good.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm like the Crypt Keeper.
Clinically, what we have here is a situation where people would come into my office and they're both sure that they're right.
Correct.
And they're both sure that their perspective is the correct one, and the other person is being ridiculous. And both mom and daughter here, like, you're being ridiculous.
Yep.
And so we have magic forces that are saying, until you guys can take each other's perspective and have empathy, compassion for each other, you're going to keep doing this.
How often have you wished as a clinician that you could just do that?
I'd love for it to have like a 30-minute power. And then it goes back, and then I'm like, what
And
did
then
we
you
learn?
So let's spend the next 20 minutes talking about
Yeah,
this.
yeah, that would be an amazing therapy superpower to do this.
Perfect.
Maybe I need to bring some fortune cookies to the office.
True. Do you want to improve your relationships without having to do a mystical body swap that leads to you almost having to marry your mother's boyfriend? If so, join us on our Patreon. On our Patreon, you can get extended, ad-free director's cuts of our episodes, and you can even get early access, which means you're cooler and better than other people. That's not what that means. What that does mean is you get more of our tangents, rants, and wild thought experiments, like Chad Michael Murray. Is he dreamy or super dreamy? It's super dreamy. There's so much more Patreon exclusive content like therapy deep dives, filmmaking deep dives, live chats and Q&As with Jonathan and I. You can hang out with us. So much stuff, it's almost freaky.
Not that kind of freaky.
Yes, that kind of freaky. Only on the upper tier though.
Nope.
Head to patreon.com/cinematherapy and join us today to get freaky.
Not our tagline.
Only on Fridays.
What are we gonna do now? I can't go to school like this.
You have to. You're on the verge of suspension, Anna. And you have your honors qualifying exam today.
All the more reason to stay home.
You know, I could go and take the exam for you. I'm sure a high school level test would be quite simple for me.
Are you kidding? You think you can be me?
Of course I can. Watch me. Oh, everyone's out to get me. You're ruining my life.
Well, it's easy to be you. I'll just suck the fun out of everything.
I do not suck the fun out of everything.
Fun sucker.
Oh, this is ridiculous. I will go to school and you will stay right.
What?
Evan.
Evan? Who's Evan?
Oh, my neediest patient. I've been seeing him every day for the past 3 years.
Bummer.
Maybe just my face would be reassuring.
No, wait. I am not babysitting some 40-year-old whack job. I mean, what am I supposed to say to the freak?
Nothing. You are in no way to give anyone any advice. That would be unethical. Just listen attentively, nod occasionally, and if you must speak, simply say, "How do you feel about that?"
You're serious? You really want us to be each other?
Well,
That really is all therapy is.
each other.
Shut up.
Jamie Lee Curtis is so good. She deserves 9 more Oscars.
So what we see here that we would see in a therapy session is when Tess, in Anna's body, is mocking Anna and saying, "Oh, I can be you," and it just does like this sarcastic, insulting imitation of her, right?
Yeah.
In therapy, what this would look like is we would do a role-playing exercise where one person assumes the mannerisms and voice and speak like the other person speaks and think like the other person thinks and try and understand what their experience is like. And just like in the movie, it always starts with passive-aggressive bullshit.
I was going to say, that sounds like a recipe for disaster.
Get away, you clone freak!
We're doing this exercise because your assumption is the other person's doing what they're doing, saying what they're saying because they're an idiot or they're a jerk.
Right.
And I'm trying to get you further in to see the humanity of what's going on with the other person. And even with that boundary set, people just
It
can't
always
resist.
starts that way.
Yeah, people just can't resist. And so I always have to keep that in check. I actually do this thing where I keep my tissues and I throw them like flags on a football game. Like, and so it always starts with that. And then just like in the film, it leads to empathy. One thing I will say is talking about a therapy client as a 40-year-old wacko or a freak.
What am I supposed to say to the freak?
Is that insensitive? Yes. But the fact is, like, we're looking at the character. This is what a
teenage girl is going to say.
A teenage girl who doesn't have the experience of her mother is going to. So, yes, is that inappropriate? Yeah, but it's in character inappropriate. Correct. And so I don't take issue with it. But no, if you're in therapy, you're not a freak.
Ms. Coleman,
Yes, Mr. Bates?
what are the central conflicts in Hamlet?
Well, political, of course, because Claudius usurped his father's throne. Oedipal, because of the undercurrents with his mother. And then there's the timeless question of insanity. Is he really seeing his father's ghost, or is he simply mad?
That is seriously overreaching. F.
F?
F. Mr. Frenelli.
So she assumed that her daughter was exaggerating about the teacher bullying her.
Right.
And it just makes me feel really depressed.
And how do you feel about that?
Depressed.
This one's funny
I mean,
because
it's so cartoony, but have you had just blubbering before?
oh yeah.
Like, in...
So this is just a little taste of what the movie gives us a lot of, is both of them realizing that each other's lives isn't as easy or as ideal as they think.
Yeah.
And what's really going on at the beginning is they're both so wrapped up in their own stresses and their own pressures that they don't want to deal with the other person's. Can you just handle it? Can you just stop being such a baby? Can you just get over it?
Yeah.
And that's more about a tolerance thing.
Right.
Right? And this is one of the reasons we need empathy and perspective taking. And the thing about perspective taking, there is no way to 100% know what another person's going through.
Right.
I don't like the word never. I almost never use the word never. But I would say never tell another person, I know how you feel. Never.
Right.
Because you don't. Even if the experiences are identical, your emotional experience is going to be different. What I like to say is, if it were me, I would feel, and then I explain it, and then I say,
Yep.
Is that what it's like for you, or is it something else? Because then I'm showing them I'm trying to understand, and I care, and I'm empathizing, but I'm not presuming anything.
Right.
And it gives them that opportunity, and it's that reaching across. But I love that she asks, how does it make you feel? How does it make you feel? And it's actually not to the point of your joke. It's actually not all therapists do. Because when she tries that, I feel so depressed. How does it make you feel?
Depressed.
This morning was good, but then I got up.
One of the things that we see throughout the film, and we get little glimpses of it in that scene, is that Anna and Tess are both dealing with the trauma of losing their husband and father.
Yeah.
But they're not talking to each other about it, and they're not actually dealing with it. They're both repressing it, just in different ways.
Yeah.
That's the root cause of most of these problems. I mean, the real cause is that they're not communicating about it. They're
Yeah.
not sharing, and they're not being open.
Communication. That's all it takes.
Each actor is doing not only an impression of the other actor, but of the character as written. How would you help actors get into that type of headspace?
That, honestly, it is both very tough and extremely fun for actors to do, because you're getting to play multiple layers of character all at the same time. If it were me, I would have gone to the studio and said, I need budget for 3 weeks of rehearsals. I need to get these actors in a room together, and we need to go through the entire script and figure out how Jamie Lee Curtis would play Tess and how Lindsay Lohan would play Tess. And then we can make slight tweaks to both performances to make sure that they're lining up. And then, the reverse for the Anna character.
Because it's really uncanny.
They're doing such a good job.
I don't know why you never wear these. They're so cute.
Yeah, if you're selling Bibles.
It's a silly movie. Analyze these performances. They're very good.
Yeah.
I need more.
It's so weird about your mom.
Oh, yeah, what did she say? What? Oh, right. She said no.
What?
Well, it is her rehearsal dinner. I mean, don't you think that's rather important, too?
And you told her? You told her this chance would, never come again?
And she sympathizes, but...
Don't give us this, Anna. She is totally ruining our lives.
You're the culprit.
Yeah, you never cared about our music.
Never cared? Never cared? Who do you think paid for all of those guitar lessons? And did she ever hear a thank you? No, I don't think so.
Come on, Anna. You said it yourself. Your mom hasn't paid any attention to you since she started dating that guy.
That's not true.
We talk about it enough.
I do?
What is up with you today? You act like you don't even care about this band.
Look, girls, guys, if it were any other night but tonight...
Whatever, Anna.
So Tess, as Anna, getting a taste of the social pressure that her daughter is under. I could get through a day in your high school.
No problem. Easy.
And she's also realizing something that's an essential part of perspective taking, is she's seeing herself through her daughter's eyes now.
Yes.
When her friends talk about, you often talk about how your mom hasn't paid any attention to you since she started dating this new guy. And that's something that wasn't even on her radar. Or maybe Anna's talked about it and Tess has just brushed it off as
ignored it.
Being dramatic, right? And the fact is, most of our quote-unquote hurtful behaviors come because we're either trying to get love and affection or we're responding to a lack of love and affection.
Yep.
And a lot of the things that she sees as Anna being dramatic is actually Anna responding to her mother distancing herself without meaning to. And we see at the beginning when they're having their argument that Tess says things like, I want to understand and I care, but she's listening to respond. She's not listening to understand.
Right.
She's listening so that she can tell Anna why she's wrong and dismiss where she's coming from. And that comes from the type of arrogance, you've heard me talk about this before, where we all think that we're right. Because we arrive at our conclusions. Honestly, we've given it thought. We've had this experience. We've done this research. And so we think, I'm right.
And you're in your 40s and you have, presumably a master's degree or a PhD. Like, I obviously know what I'm talking about here. I've been your mom for a long time.
Yeah. And this is something we learn as parents. I know you've had a similar experience. It's not just our kids learning from us because we have life experience. There are things that we've lost touch with.
Yes.
Because we've got so much distance from it.
I don't believe in physical contact with the opposite sex. At all. Ever.
And so even though, like you're saying, this is a really silly little movie, there's a lot of depth to it.
Oh, found it!
Found what?
My earring.
Here's Anna, who doesn't like her mom's new boyfriend. Thinks he's probably a loser, making assumptions. Chad Michael Murray, that's a different problem.
To crash.
You guys?
Chad Michael Murray's soul patch is a problem.
Well, I think they're trying to get Anna to go to an audition at the House of Blues, which of course had to be tonight. But I said no, she had to stay here.
Don't get it.
No, that's how it went down. Listen, I know it's not important to you and that she's just a girl in a stupid rock band.
Look, Dr. Coleman, dude, I'm really sorry, but couldn't we just borrow Anna for like 20 minutes?
We'd never ask you or like anybody for anything ever again. I am appalled at you two. I clearly said.
Go.
What?
Go.
Ryan,
What are you still doing here? Go, right now.
thank you so much. I told you he wouldn't totally ruin your life. Thank you.
Mr. Dude, you rock!
Thanks, man.
Are you mad?
No.
Do you like not want to get married now?
No. No, I don't. Not if you're going to put me on this role.
What role?
The role of insensitive stepfather who couldn't care less or thinks it's a stupid rock band or any of the preposterous things you just said. How can you say I don't care? I'm not that guy, Tess, and if that's who you think I am, then this is never going to work. When I fell in love with you, I knew you came with a history and a family, and I respect the hell out of that. I never pushed Anna because I want her to like me on her own terms, in her own way.
That's very cool.
Yeah. Now, what are you still doing here?
What do you mean?
You should be over there. That's where you want to be. Cheering her on. That's where I want you to be. But go on. Go. I can hold down the fort here for 20 minutes.
I think a lot of that speaks for itself, but one of the things that I really like is when both Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis are on screen, reacting to what he's saying.
Yeah.
In character as, Lindsay Lohan's mom and Jamie Lee Curtis' daughter, that they're both seeing him in a different way. That Tess is seeing him as, he really does care about my daughter. And maybe I've been too hard on her.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas Anna sees this guy that she always thought was intruding, trying to replace her father, taking her mother from her, and realizing, no, like that was all mom.
That was mom's problem, not Ryan's problem.
Bad mom award.
He's actually a pretty cool guy. We get into so much trouble when, out of insecurity, out of fear, we just make assumptions. And then we get into trying to protect ourselves instead of seeing what's really going on. And that's why, you don't need to be in a therapy office to practice perspective taking.
Right.
It doesn't have to be a role-playing exercise, but it does need to be something that you deliberately do. And I know you do this with your kids. Mm-hmm. I do it with my kids, especially when I'm aggravated with them. I try and remind myself, okay, you're 8 years old. Try and remember, what year is it? 1989. Right?
Batman. Okay, got it.
Okay, Batman, Indiana Jones' Last Crusade. Here we go. And then just trying to get in that headspace, and then you approach them totally differently.
Yeah.
And this works in all relationships. Because of perspective taking, we can arrive at a place of empathy with one another that changes the decisions that we make and helps us to be more altruistic and fair. So Tess has told Anna, we need to break off the engagement because I know you're not ready to have a stepfather. Please let him down gently. And so Tess, in Anna's body, is just brokenhearted because she's going to break off her engagement because
they can't get married tomorrow because they're stuck in each other's bodies.
Yeah,
and they don't see any chance of this happening because they don't know how magic fortune cookies work.
Bummer.
That's the practical reason. And the emotional reason is because she's realizing, having lived in her daughter's body for a day and experiencing what her daughter experiences, I'm rushing this because I want it without considering how hurtful it can be to my daughter. So Tess has just told Anna, please break off the engagement. And then Anna, in Tess's body, does this. She's such an awkward teenager.
She's so great.
I guess I'm gonna start the toasts. So 3 years ago, we had a really bad thing happen in our family. We lost a father and a husband. And I didn't think we'd ever be able to get over it. But then, this guy next to me came into the picture. And everybody could see I was happy again. I was singing in the shower again.
So what she's doing now is speaking as her mother and perfectly captures her mother's emotional experience.
still really worried
And that
about
is perspective taking. That's
kids
the power of the role play in therapy and in life.
Whether they'd be able
And perfectly capturing a teenager's
to accept
dialogue,
new
which
man
is
in their life.
excellent writing.
Yeah.
And now I know how Anna feels. And what she feels is that no one could ever take the place of her dad. Because he was a really great dad. But somebody could be part of a new family. Its own kind of cool new little unit. That for someone as special as Ryan, that we would all just make a little room. Anna really wanted her mom to know that.
And then, tell me what has moved you, my friend.
It's really beautiful to see two characters really starting to understand each other. And I've talked plenty of times on this channel about how I have a tough time with my mom sometimes. We both have a tough time taking each other's perspective.
You've done a lot of work to take her perspective.
I have.
Which has helped with forgiving and understanding and accepting, right?
Yes.
And it is obviously more healing and more powerful if two people are doing it.
Sure.
But even if just one person does it, you know, I like to say that forgiveness and trust are not the same thing. And you can forgive somebody and not bear them ill will, let go of any grudges, let go of any bitterness, anger, hatred. Not that you ever hated your mom, just like these are feelings that we can let go of.
I did, but
okay.
That's a different we'll talk about it later.
But we can let go of these things and want good things for another person.
For sure.
But having a close relationship requires trust.
Yeah.
And just one person can practice perspective taking to let go of that negativity.
Yeah.
And to be in a healthy place. And even
forgiveness can easily be one-sided. Trust cannot be. It has to be a two-sided thing.
Exactly. Which is why you can forgive people in your life and not have a relationship with them. Forgiveness doesn't mean it's like it never happened. And
or not have the relationship that you want. Maybe.
Yeah.
You can have a relationship, but it's not as close as the one that these two are going to have.
Well, for some people, there is no relationship because the trust is so...
absolutely.
And for other people, it's like, we have a Sunday dinner relationship.
Correct.
That's what we could do for our mental health. But in order for trust to be built, I think both have to practice perspective taking and make shifts like they did here. So until next time...
Look, Grandpa, I'm a walrus.
And how does that make you feel?
Like a walrus.
And...
watch movies.
Gosh. Ew. Ew.
Hello, Dr. Coleman. Yes, Elizabeth. Yes, Elizabeth, I'll be at the appointment tomorrow. Okay, good. And Elizabeth, remember, you are a smart, strong, beautiful, independent woman, and you don't need a man to complete you. Thank you. Goodbye.